Hey, mate, you're trying to keep bringing Dustin up. He's done. Stop trying to bring him back, mate. He's done. He's not coming back. Leave it as it is.
I'm going Charles Oliveira here, and I think it's also a little bit underrated, Charles' stand-up game. He can stand with people, and he's really developed that part of his game. I can see him catching Max early and potentially... Welcome back to episode 4 of the Throwing Shade podcast. We're here. It's Monday, the 2nd of March, and boy, do we have a big week ahead of us. We've got UFC 326, which is going to be the foundation of our show today. We've got a lot of other cool combat sports news going on. Really excited to be here for another episode. Bally, great to have you here. How's your weekend? How you feeling today? You nice and fresh tonight for the pod?
Feeling good, Tuckers. Yeah, I just bought a house, so that's exciting. Oh. So big news. I'm now a homeowner, so into that debt life. But yeah, it was great. We obviously met Volk again, which was awesome. We're a massive crowd, obviously big turnout. Celebrating with you boys, having a few jars. Never go too bad. So it was a great weekend, mate.
Fantastic, boy. Geez, you took the plunge and bought a house. It's almost like I never told you not to do that, but you went against the advice. But no, congratulations. That's awesome news for you, Bally. Where are we living? Somewhere in a city, South Yarra, Richmond, Footscray's beautiful suburb. Whereabouts are you living, Bally?
Well, if I had your type of money, maybe those areas, Tuckers, but unfortunately it's just little old me. So I've bought it all by myself. So I've gone to the lovely sunny area of Croydon North, which you're probably not too familiar with, but I grew up down Croydon Way, and they breed them well down there, Tuckers.
I do know Croydon North, Bally. I've had the privilege of spending a bit of time there the past few years with my soon-to-be in-laws. Have a house just around the corner from you, actually. So there you go, mate. I know the area.
There you go. They're obviously good people, live in a really nice leafy suburb, unlike some of these polluted suburbs that you live in. It's not all about being close to the city, mate. Some people like to, have their own little bit of peace, right near the Yarra Valley for the wineries. It's not too bad, Tuckers. You should try it sometime, mate.
Jeez, it's going to be a revolving door at that house, if you know what I mean. But, mate, awesome news. Weight loss journey, how are we tracking? Where's that at the moment, boy? I just wanted to touch on it quickly.
Yes, Tuckers, thanks for asking, and hopefully thanks for noticing. So we're just under 3 weeks. I've lost 4 kilos, so it might not look like it yet, but feeling awesome. When I run now, I don't have much pain in my Achilles, which is great. Just absolutely loving it, counting calories, understanding food a bit better, not drinking as much piss, so that's been a bit hard. But it's probably something I needed to do. I want to bring back the Asda six-pack and, that's the plan. So it's all going well, but there's been a few ups, few downs, few cravings, and but I'm getting there slowly and loving every minute.
Who's the lucky PT that gets to check in with you on a Monday after a big weekend, Bally? I know you had a big one Saturday night. Who's the lucky PT who you get to tell how many calories you've consumed over the weekend?
So I'll give a big shout out to my boy Dane from the Physique Factory. He's the man who whips me into shape. The guy pretty much looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger, so I don't really want to upset him. But yeah, he's been great. Anytime I've had an awards ceremony the last couple of weeks where I've got on a few wines, and he's kind of whipped me into line. So, and no dirty bird after our big weekend, so that was good. Only calories I had was with the beers. Next day, I was very disciplined and focused. So, Dane, I didn't let you down.
No dirty bird. Geez, that's nice. You did say wines that you had on Saturday night, right? Awesome stuff, mate. Well, look, we're about to get into the sports content that we're going to show you today, but just a very quick one, Aaron, because I've got a little bit of a bone to pick with you. I'm not going to throw shade at you, but we were meant to get a punishment for that god-awful multi you did last week. Went and saw my mates last Sunday. They're all like, what's going on with Bally's multi? It's a bit of a shit show at the moment. Doesn't come prepared. Only 2 legs this week. And then he hasn't done a punishment for last week. What's going on? Are we doing it or not? Can you tell the audience what we're actually going to be doing for your punishment for last week's multi which lost?
Yes, Tuckers, fair enough. Yeah, I've had the same thing. All the boys giving me shit, telling us, what's going on with the multi? It doesn't seem like you're putting any effort in. I've just been buying a fucking house, so just give me a break. I've been a bit stressed, maybe a little bit underprepared, which isn't like me. But it's back on track this week, and I've got an absolute cracker, a little 3-legger, which I'm pretty confident on. The punishment is going to happen. Are we announcing it now, or do you want to wait?
For last week, yeah. That's what we're doing from last week's losing multi-Bally.
Okay, unfortunately, I put my money where my mouth is, and I'm going to do the punishment that you came up with. So I'm going to be going to, I think it's the Burke Street Mall, and I'm pretty much going to be giving a speech on how bad I am at multis in front of, hopefully hundreds of people. And I'm going to make it, a bit of fun at my own expense. And there might be a little bit of theatrical, side of things to come with that multi. So we'll see.
Fantastic, Bully. Well, I am really looking forward to that. And you're going to do another multi for this week, as you just touched on at the end of the show. And there will be another punishment for the loser of that. So if you win your multi-bet, I'm doing the punishment. If it loses, you're doubling up and you're going again. And we're going to announce what the punishment is later on in the show. So cannot wait for that. But let's dive in, Bully, because it's been a huge week. It's been some news which has been announced over the past few days from the world of UFC in particular, but all over the combat sports world, there's a lot going on. You got the Dana White v Eddie Hearn feud, which is going on at the moment. That's been really interesting. You had actual UFC event on over the weekend. Brandon Moreno got done down in Mexico City. But the biggest news that we want to touch on for the time being, there's stuff just bubbling at the moment, Bally. We're at one of those points in time where there's not a lot of great fights that have been announced for the probably next 3 to 4 months, but they're slowly starting to drip feed us some fights. But everything is shaping up around that White House card and I guess International Fight Week. They're the 2 weeks that they've got in their minds at the moment in the UFC. And we've just had the light heavyweight champion vacate his belt. Alex Pereira has vacated. He's given it up. We've got Yuri Prochazka and Carlos Ulberg fighting for that at UFC 327. But Pereira, he's vacated. We know he's been one of the most successful light heavyweight champions in history. What do you think this means for Poatan, Bally? Where's he going? Is he going to heavyweight? Is he staying in the same division and fighting potentially one of the GOATs of the sport? What do you see happening for Poatan?
I love it, Tuckers. I think, what a man he is. He's been the guy that UFC have called on when they've needed someone to step up, and now he's going to go for 3 belts in 3 different divisions, which is just nuts. Never been done before. I think he's going to go heavyweight. It's really the only logical move for him. I think, it's a big step up. Taking on someone like a John Jones would be amazing. I don't know if we'll actually get that because it sounds like Big Bones Jones, his body's pretty cooked and he's always crying about his arthritis and how he's cooked. I think what we'll end up getting is obviously Poatan versus Cyril Gane. I think that just logically makes sense. We'd all obviously love if he got the big fight, which is obviously against Aspinall. But considering his eyes and where he's at, and I think the UFC is almost, they've almost just kicked old poor Tom down the road. So I think that's where it's heading, which is super exciting. And if we get that for the White House, geez, that's a cracking fight. And we get the 2 big boys going at it, and yeah, he's the man. I can't wait.
So that's a vacant belt, Pereira v Cyril Gane, you're tipping. So for that to happen, he's gonna pick up a 3rd belt, but I don't know, does it have the same prestige as undisputed, 3-time undisputed champion? For me, it's just... it's a great legacy piece. It's a great fight. He's getting older, so you never know what's going to happen a year down the track. He might be done within a year, so he's probably just thinking, I'm going to take a swing at it and go for that 3rd belt, albeit an interim belt or not. I think that is probably the most likely outcome. You're right, but we did see news of John Jones overnight spruiking that he's negotiating for the White House at the moment. There's a big part of me that just still believes Dana's got these juices that he wants to just throw into everybody. He just wants to make the biggest fight possible this year, I believe, still. I know he's not showing a lot of emotion with regards to the UFC at the moment, but I still in my heart of hearts think that he still values John Jones as the GOAT of the sport. We know that. And we see the esteem that he holds Alex Pereira in as well. I reckon they're trying to make it for the White House as the main event. That's their A game. That's their dream matchup they're still trying to build. If not, I think we're getting Ilia Topuria, Justin Gaethje. But bloody hell, exciting times, Bally. And I guess like we just touched on before, it does lead us into a vacant light heavyweight belt. Carlos Ulberg and Yuri Prochazka, UFC 327. What do you make of that fight, and who do you think claims the light heavyweight belt?
Yeah, Tuckers. Well, I do want to just, before we go into that, I want to just throw a little bit of shade at you. I think you're dreaming if you think he's going to put it on the White House card. They've already said the White House card's going to cost $60 million. They're not going to make much money from it. There's no sponsors. There's no big corporate dollars. Why are you going to put the golden child of Bones Jones into that? It just doesn't make any sense. It's like Conor. Like, that's why they've gone cold on Conor. This is not a card where they're going to have the best of the best, the real guys that get the bums on the seats. They're probably going to have your Gaethje and your Topuria and some of these really good fights. But I think the big money man, Conor McGregor, the Notorious, he'll be fighting on that international fight week in Vegas. And I think if we do get Jones and Poatan, I think it'll be a sellout at Vegas. They won't waste it on the White House. So I'm going to call you on that one.
Fair enough. But Prochazka Ullberg, what do we make of it?
Yeah, I like Ullberg. I just love the way he fights. He's aggressive. I love like the personality that's starting to come out of him. He's giving it in the ring. He's calling people out. I'd love to see him win it, and I'm all for it. And I think he's going to get the job done. Yeah,
it's a funny one, right? Like Yuri Prochazka getting his third crack at it. We know he lost to Poatan twice. He's just such a fun fighter. He's a fan favourite. He's coming off 2 like bloodbath victories against who's he fought? He fought Khalil Roundtree last time. And that was just an absolute brutal fight, epic fight. One of the fights of the year last year. So look, with Pereira leaving, I don't have a problem with Yuri getting that shot. And it's tough to pick that one. Carlos is on 8-fight unbeaten streak, but I think Yuri gets it done this time.
Really?
I think those thoughts that he's got going in his head are going to get to Carlos, and we're going to see something special from Big Yuri. So I'm going Yuri to claim the light heavyweight championship belt. And look, as we just touched on as well, you mentioned the Notorious one. You mentioned Conor McGregor. You touched on it. They don't seem to be pushing for him to be the White House main event. I think we would have heard about it by now if he was going to be headlining the White House card. But yeah, from all reports, everything you see online, UFC wants to use the comeback of Conor McGregor. It's been 4 years. Use that as a revenue opportunity. Put that on a card where you can absolutely do the best you can for Paramount Plus. Do that, get massive ticket sales. If it's at T-Mobile Arena, which you'd suspect it would be for International Fight Week, I think that's what they're doing as well. We saw some reports during the week that he's going to be fighting, who do we see? Carlos Prates we've seen. Michael Chandler's been ruled out. Jorge Masvidal's been floated. Nate Diaz has been floated. Who does Aaron Ball want to see, the Notorious, return to the UFC to fight in International Fight Week, Paulie?
Well, I love my boy Conor. I know we've got the doubters, but I just love him. I think he's the best thing for the sport. We're missing Conor and his character and what he brings through those doors. So, in my heart of hearts, obviously, I'd love him to fight probably the best of the best. But I think they're going to throw him someone pretty just low level to try and get him a win. No one wants to see Conor come back and get absolutely absolutely destroyed. So, I don't mind the Jorge Masvidal. I think, they're both strikers. I think Jorge's past it. Maybe Conor could get him if he's been training and he's dedicated. But obviously I'd love to see him against, the best of the best. But I just don't think they're going to do that first up.
Yeah, I'd be thinking from my perspective, Conor McGregor returns to the UFC in 2026. I think it does happen. I really believe that they will, again, like you touched on, they're not going to want him to get pieced up by a really active lightweight. I think he'll fight at lightweight again. I think it makes the most sense for him. I think you're not going to put him up against one of those real big names in a Paddy Pimblett. It'd be cool to see, but it just unfortunately doesn't stand a chance. I would have thought these days with his time out and his lifestyle, the silk sheets and everything, Bally. But I would love nothing more than if Conor is going to return, do the legacy fight. There's one of 2 people I'd want to see. Nate Diaz to round out the trilogy, because we saw 2 of the best fights in UFC history between those 2. They were crackers, they were bangers, they're 1-1. We know that Conor got the rematch victory in an epic decision victory. So I think there's a piece of Nate that would want to have his ego prove that he does have the better of Conor McGregor. And in Conor McGregor's eyes, I think it's a winnable fight. I think he can come back knowing that he's fighting another guy who's been out of the division for a while, out of the sport for a while. Another guy who is going to bring eyeballs and is very well known within, not only the UFC community, but American sport in particular. I think that's the most likely outcome, that he'll fight Nate Diaz. But if not Nate, I'd love to see him fight my boy for fight number 4. Dustin Diamond Poirier. Dustin the Diamond.
Way, mate. You're trying to keep bringing Dustin up. He's done. Stop trying to bring him back, mate. He's done. He's not coming back. Leave it as it is.
I'd love to see it. Boy, if you listen to him on the commentary, he does his commentary now for the UFC. He says, I would come back to round out the trilogy with Justin Gaethje. They're 1-1 as well. He says, that's a fight I'd come back for. As if he's not going to dust the bloody laces off to get in there with Conor McGregor. Fight number 4. Fight number 3 ended in unceremonious fashion. Bad blood. 2 of the biggest names to ever do it. That'd be a banger, boy. Come on. You can't tell me you wouldn't want to see that.
No, I would love to see it, to be honest. I think it would be awesome. But I don't know. I just feel like once you're out of the game, I know Conor's been out of the game for so long, but I don't know. Is he... Yeah, maybe they could build it up in the next 3-4 months and give him a chance to prepare and get his head back in it. But he seems like he's a happy man outside, and he's in the commentary now. But I know how much you get, a hard on for Diamond, so I'm not surprised you're putting that up there.
Love you, Dustin. Love you. Look, that's a bit of the news that's circling around the UFC world and combat sports world at the moment. We're doing this show, as we touched on, our audience knows that whenever there is a big numbered event, boy, they can expect a preview from us. So we are going to run through the 5 main fights for UFC 326 being held this Sunday here in Australia. Fight out of Las Vegas, headlined by a BMF belt challenge from Charles Oliveira, trying to claim the belt from Max Holloway, 2 of the most popular fighters within the sport, 2 guys with massive audiences and massive followings. That's going to be a great fight, which we're going to touch on. But we're going to start at the bottom of the main card, Bally. We've got Gregory Rodriguez coming in at $1.49, taking on Bruno Ferreira, a middleweight matchup. Now, this one is a rematch from a fight that happened quite a few years ago. Bruno Ferreira was an underdog and actually got a first-round KO against Gregory Rodriguez, who was a much bigger man. He's got about sort of 10 centimetres, I think, on Bruno. He looks like an absolute Greek god. He's got a chiseled physique. He's everything you'd want to see in a... Feel like Paulie, yes, that's correct. But look, he's just a great fighter. He's coming off, a really good run. But Bruno Ferreira has probably got a little bit more power behind him, I think, and I think there's a real chance that he could catch him again. I think if the fight goes into deep waters and it goes towards the 2nd, 3rd round, Gregory's probably just a little bit more of a well-rounded fighter. Is a bigger man as well. I think if it's going to go to a decision, I think it will be Gregory Rodriguez's, but I can see a Bruno Ferreira KO early in the fight. So my tip is going to be Bruno Ferreira, outsider at $2.65. So, Bally, just quickly, who are you tipping in this one?
RoboCop, Rodriguez. I love him. He's a big unit. He's scary as hell, and I think he's going to piece him up.
Paulie. Well, I disagree with you, not for the first time today. But look, it takes us into the next fight up the card, and we have got 2 veterans of the UFC. We've got Drew Dober taking on Michael Johnson in a lightweight fight. You got Drew Dober, an outsider, at $2.05, taking on Michael Johnson at $1.76. These are the old boys, Paulie. They're actually 2 guys that are both older than you and me, would you believe? So you've got Drew Dober, 27, taking on Johnson, 39. Both been around for a long time. Dober is a sort of pretty popular guy within the UFC. He's taken some punishment recently. He's been KO'd, I think, 2 out of his last 3 fights. Got his jaw broken recently. Gene Silva notably came in and KO'd him. Michael Johnson's a bit of a bigger guy, a bit more rangy. Probably a little bit more. I think he's had more total fights and more total wins as well. He's actually got, I did see a stat before, he's actually got the most losses on record as well, Michael Johnson. So could go either way, this one, but I'm going to go so I'm going to go, actually the favourite he is now, I'm going to go Michael Johnson for a KO victory. I think he's going to clip him early, and I think either way, I think there's going to be a KO, but I'm going Johnson. Who you going, Bally?
I think I'm just going to go Dober. I think he's just he's a ball of muscle. He comes bullet out of gun. He's I love the way he goes about it. He sometimes unfortunately gets caught by how reckless he is. But I'm going to go my boy Dober with a KO win.
Cool, Bally. Disagree again. Love it. Then we're going to go to the next card down the line. We've got Rob Font coming as an outsider, taking on Raul Rosas Jr. in a featherweight matchup. You've got Rob Font coming in at $2.67. Outsider, as I touched on, versus Raul at $1.48. Now, this one's an interesting one because Rob Font has been a really popular guy within the UFC for a long time. Again, quite an older bloke, 37 years old, been in the game a long time. He's a good striking fighter, visually fights quite well, and he's been very popular with the UFC for a long time. And Raul's coming in complete the opposite. 21 years old, known for being a grappler, known for not being able to strike yet. We haven't seen him be on the feet with people and striking. It's going to be a real test for him, in my perspective, to see if he can or if he's willing to stand. I don't think he will be. I think he'll try and get Rob down very quick, and I think he'll try for a very early submission. I don't think the cardio will be at the same level of a Rob Font either. So, look, I think if Rob Font can keep this on the feet, the wise old head, I think he's got a real shot. But my heart of hearts, I think Raul is just going to get him down and probably submit him pretty early. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Rob Font carry this to a decision victory as well. But I'm going to go Raul Rosas Jr. Paulie, what about you?
We finally agree on one, Tuckers. I also think Rosas Jr. is going to get the job done. I think he's, besides how ugly he is and his face looks like someone's hit him with a shovel, he's a weird-looking dude, but I think his grappling's going to be too good. He's younger. He's more hungry. I think he's going to cause him a lot of trouble, get him to the ground and make it, a real war for him. And I think the youth's going to be the one that wins there. And I think, Junior's going to get the job done.
Did you ever see that YouTube clip of Raul Rosas Jr. and Opto, the dude that we love watching who goes up flashing gang signs at people in America?
Yeah.
You seen that where he gets in the ring with Raul Rosas Jr.?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He gets the absolute shit kicked out of him.
Yeah, he does, yeah. It's Opto. We'll credit that in the pod. But, yeah, for anyone who hasn't seen it, go watch it on YouTube. He's a bit of a prankster and gets in there and starts an argument with the UFC fighter at a gym. A fucking banger.
Who was the guy that was getting in that guy's face and then he just elbows him in the grill? Do you remember that one you sent me?
Yeah.
Do you remember who that was?
Nah, I'd have to go back and track that.
That was hilarious. I love when these YouTubers and stuff, they get in UFC fighters' faces and then they find out that this isn't a Mickey Mouse sport. There's no joking around. You got to feel some elbows.
And you had Andrei Arlovsky at, I think, what was it, the Jake Paul most recent fight against Anthony Joshua. He was in the crowd and, those streamers came up to him and got in his face and taken on about 15 of them in the bloody out in the drinks area of the bloody arena. But look, that takes us through to the, it's not the co-main, but the second fight down the line for UFC 326, Paulie. We have got Caio Borralho taking on Reina Derrida in a middleweight matchup. This is a great fight, and I think one that a lot of people would have had circled for quite a few months now. Well, since it's been announced anyway, because Caio is very highly regarded. He's one of the fighting nerds. He's probably the most popular member of the fighting nerds. He's coming in as a favourite at $1.38, taking on Reina Derrida at $3.07, which are interesting odds because, look, they're both coming off pretty poor losses and both were very disappointing in their last outings. Having said that, Caio, lost a decision victory to Imavov. He threw everything he had out there, but just on the night was just not up to it. Whereas RDR is coming off a very poor performance against Brendan Allen up there in Canada in October last year. Came off the back, from my perspective, of him having 4 fights within the space of 12 months. He's cutting a lot of weight to get to middleweight. He's 6'4", so has to shed a fair bit of weight to get down there. So my perspective was that in that fight, he'd just done too much, and I think he needed a break. I think he needed quite a bit of time off. But what are we? We're 4 or 5 months down the line, and he's in there again. If you had a penciled in this matchup before that fight in October last year, I would have been certain that Reina Derrida would win this. And Reina had everything from my perspective you need to be one of those title contenders within the division. What he did to Rob Whittaker, what he did to Bo Nickel, he's just powerful. He's got those strong knees up the body. Really composed fighter, but I think we learned a bit about his gas tank in that fight because he pulled out against Brendan Allen. I think at the end of the 4th round, he called it quits. What do you think, Paulie? Give me your rundown on this fight.
Yeah, Tuckers. I just think, Caio is going to get it done. I used to really like RDR. I thought he was a real up-and-comer of the sport. He was going to be a challenger. But the way I've seen him quit like a little bitch, I just can't trust him anymore. Like his last fight where he just got when he got taken down, he didn't even put up any fight. It was like your big brother beating the shit out of you. He was just helpless. It was embarrassing. So I've completely lost respect for him. He's a bit of a quitter like you, Tuckers. All the boys are out and trying to get Tuckers to 161 and have a bit of a party. And what happened there, Tuckers? You just couldn't fire the shot and you quit like RDR quit. So I don't like quitters, Tuckers. I'm going to go Kaio. I think he's going to be too quick for him. I think he'll keep it on the feet. I think if RDR takes him down, then obviously that's going to that's going to be an advantage for RDR. He's got, he's a big, massive man. Like you said, he's going to work those knees, and if he gets him down, he might just be too big of a body for Kaio to do anything. But I think Kaio is going to be too nimble, too fast. He's going to blow his tank out, and he's going to just make an absolute mockery of RDR.
There you go, Paulie. Well, look, again, we're disagreeing, mate. This is different today. We've got the opposite opinion on a lot of these fights, which I love that. I love proving you wrong. So I really think that RDR is going to bounce back here. I think he was coming off an injury last time. I believe he had a hand injury going into that fight as well. So, yeah, my tip's going to be RDR. I think it's great value at $3.07. He's not a well-established and well-known enough commodity to be deserving those. Well, that's why he's getting those odds. People don't know him well enough, in my perspective, in the UFC. So I think he's going to bounce back. I think he will win a decision victory. So let's go, Paulie. Let's see who wins these tips today. There's a fair few variances between us here, so I'm really looking forward to this one. But look, that's enough about the first four fights on the card. Let's get to the main event. The reason why we're all really going to be tuning in for this one, let's be honest, because this is one of the best fights that you can highlight for a year. You got two of the most popular people in the sport, as I touched on earlier, between Max Holloway and Charles Oliveira, fighting at lightweight. They fought before. They actually fought at featherweight quite a while ago, and Max came away with a win. I think the fight got called off early, but Max came away with a win. We've got this fight starting as Max as a favourite, $1.46, taking on Charles Oliveira at $2.72. Great fight, two different styles. One guy has got the record for the most strikes, most significant strikes in history. I think I heard the other day he's only 100 strikes shy of 4,000 significant strikes, which is just incredible to think. He's averaging something like 9 significant strikes per minute in the UFC at the moment, which, think about that. That's fucking ridiculous, Paulie. And then you got Charles Oliveira, one of the most brutal submission artists we've seen in the sport. Once he gets a hold, he only gets that chokehold in. It is very hard to get out there, and a lot of people have shown that they can't get out of it. But then at the same time, Max doesn't get taken down too much, and he's got good grappling and wrestling defense. Give me the Aaron Ball rundown of this fight. I'm keen to hear it. Keen to see if we're going to agree or disagree. I'm not going to give you my tip until after yours, Paulie, just to round this out. Yeah, give me the rundown on the fight.
Yeah, I think this is the fight we've all been waiting for. I just love watching Max fight. It's never a dull fight. He's going to try and keep it on his feet. He's going to work that jab. He's just going to absolutely just put on all that pressure on Charles. I think the volume factor is going to be a big thing here. Yeah, Charles is an amazing submission artist, and if he can take him down, which Max notoriously doesn't get taken down, I just think it's. I just think Max, this is just perfect for him. He's gonna box his head off. I can see it even getting to a KO TKO. That's how much I think he's just going to be super dominant. Charles needs a win, but can he take down Max? I don't think so. And, from their previous fight, I think he was, you'd probably say he was piecing him up a bit until obviously went down with, I think, like a larynx injury. So I think we're all, everyone's kind of in one camp or the other. I just think Max, he's the man, probably going to go down as, one of the pound for pound greatest, obviously future Hall of Famer, and I'm just hoping, Tuckers, we get the point to the ground the last 10 seconds. It's been a bloodbath, and maybe we see one of those big KOs like he did against Gaethje with that massive fight. Yeah,
I don't see it getting to that point, Paulie. I'm going against you again here. I'm going Charles Oliveira here, and I think it's also a little bit underrated, Charles' stand-up game. He can stand with people, and he's really developed that part of his game. I can see him catching Max early and potentially getting him with, I don't know, if he can get him up against the fence. He loves going for a guillotine. I think if he just gets him to the ground, like Max, people don't sort of appreciate, like, he doesn't get taken down a lot, but he also doesn't fight a lot of grapplers. He actually hasn't fought someone like Charles for quite a while now, and I think you'll find, if you go back to the Ilya Topuria fight when Max, I know he's fighting at featherweight at this point, but when he fought Ilya took him down. Ilya, the best boxer in the UFC. I know he's actually not too bad of a wrestler and grappler as well, but Ilya got him down quite easy before he knocked him out. So I think Charles can do it. Coming off an awesome win against Gamrot last year. And before that, he had a great fight with Arman Sarukian, right? Like Arman's probably the best lightweight on the planet at the moment. I think we could agree. Pieced up Michael Chandler before that. Coming off a great run here. Loves the big occasion, loves the big stage. Yeah, it's just a grouse fight, isn't it? But I'm going Charles. Let's go second round submission. Charles Oliveira to claim the BMF belt, Bally. We didn't touch on that, but the fight is for the BMF belt, which for those who don't know at home, it's the baddest motherfucker, which is a belt they brought in back in, I think it was 2019.
Who would you say has that between us? Who's the baddest between you and me?
Is that even a question? I don't even think that's a question, is it? Well, one of us was out till 5, 6 a.m. on Saturday night. It wasn't me, so...
Exactly. Know your place, Tuckers, and sit out.
Yeah,
I'm the BMF of this little podcast here, champ.
Okay, maybe we'll let you lay claim to that one, Bally. Where was I going with that? But yeah, the baddest motherfucker came in back in 2019. The reason for anyone who doesn't know that they named this fight the BMF is because there was a Madison Square Garden card actually where they could not find a title fight for it. For those who don't know, Madison Square Garden is one of the biggest events they try and hold every year in New York City. And they brought on a BMF belt on there between, I think it was Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal, which was, for those who don't know as well, they are two of the BMFs of the sport, ironically. So that was a grouse way to kick it off. The legacy still stands. Some people hate it because it's not traditional. It's classic Dana White. It's classic UFC. And these two boys fight on Saturday night in the US Sunday here for us are going to do it justice. I think we'll see a really cool fight, and I think Charles will walk away with the Bally. So here we go.
Question without notice. Obviously, The Rock, remember he brung down the BMF belt last time, and obviously the complete cinema that was, and obviously all of us wrestling fans and sport fans alike, that was like a great moment. Who, if you had an option to bring the BMF belt out for this fight, would you choose?
Who would I choose for that? Yeah, you put me on the spot here, Bally. I don't know, like the UFC have got their allegiances, right? Like they've got their people they love bringing down to fights that are there on the regular. You've got Kid Rocks, like someone who'd be pretty cool. Yeah. Who else is part of that crew between Dana and his mates? You've got Elon Musk. You've got
what about your boy Trump?
Who better than the big Don boy?
Yeah, mate. Operation Fury, whatever we're doing at the moment, dropping bombs on the whole world. Yeah. Bring him out with the BMF.
He hasn't got much going on at the moment, Donald. So maybe he'll be available for Saturday night in Vegas. Yeah. What do you reckon? You reckon he'll be available?
Oh, mate, I'd love to see it. The great Don.
Did you line me up for that question? Like, were you thinking that's who I was going to say? Well, sadly, there's no one else that came to mind. So let's go with Donald Trump there. But look, great card. It's one of those cards that, for those who don't follow the UFC too closely, there's some names on here that are probably not the biggest names within the sport, but there's some real talent. You're going to see some KOs on this main card. I'd nearly put my house on it. And you're going to see some really cool fight styles here. But yeah, nothing better than that main event, the BMF championship belt we'll see in the lightweight division on Sunday afternoon. But that's it for the fights on Sunday, Bally. We do need to get to the topic before we wrap up the show, back to where we started of the multi. I'm going to throw to it now, Bally. I know you wanted to film it another day, but we are doing a multi for this weekend. It's not just about the UFC. I think there's an element of the UFC 326 within the Bally's multi for this week. But can you do me a favour? Like, are you going to commit to this one? Are we doing a punishment for this one if it doesn't win, Bally? Like, what's the plan?
Yes, there is going to be a punishment. I just want to apologise to everyone out there. I know the Bally's multi, it's fallen a bit flat. I've had a bit of a busy time in my life buying houses and other things. But the multi's back, and if I do lose this multi, I'm going to be doing a challenge that Tuckers has come up with. And if you've got any challenges out there, feel free to DM us. I'm sure Tuckers would love to make me do some of these horrible challenges. But let's hope we can turn the tide and make old Tucker Bags finally do something for the show. So it's that time. Bally's multi. Drum roll, please. So the first leg, we're going to change it up a little bit. Obviously, we've got the great UFC card, but I wanted to, obviously, with footy season starting, chuck a few footy matches in there. So we're going to go to the first one is going to be Sydney versus Carlton. I think they get it done at $1.36. And then we're going to go a little bit left of centre, and we're going to go my boys Manchester City. They're going to get it done, same thing, $1.36. And then we're going to go to the main fight where I've said Max, he's going to get it done. And I think he's going to stop him. I think it's going to be a TKO or KO. And Max to do that's $2.85. So with Bally's multi, you put it all together and we're going to get $5.25. So I think it's a very good chance of winning. We've had a bit of a rough start, but the Bally's multi, it's coming back and it's coming back strong. And we're going to see Tucker's doing the challenge.
I think when we established the multi for you to host, the rules around it were it has to be a minimum of $5. You know, we've got to get it up there sort of towards $10 to make it a bit unrealistic. Last 2 weeks, you're skirting right on that $5 mark. So I know you're really trying to win one here, but I want to tell you what the punishment is for this one. Not the one for last week. Who do you follow again? I don't think the audience might know. Who do you actually follow in the AFL?
I've got a tattoo of Collingwood, so yeah, I think it's Collingwood. Yeah.
Who would your most hated club be outside of Collingwood?
Oh, jeez. There's a few. Essendon, Carlton, Brisbane, Geelong, but probably Essendon would be my most hated, with you being the biggest flog ever, and I have to deal with your talk about Essendon. You have been irrelevant for 2 decades. You still whinge. You still make excuses. So, yeah, they're probably my most hated. Why? What do you got for me?
Well, I'm glad you said that, Bully. I'm glad that you said Essendon, because if you lose this weekend, we've got opening round on this weekend, but the following round is where the real action starts, right? You got round one. You got the Thursday night Richmond taking on Carlton, but the night I'm interested in is the Friday night Essendon v Hawthorn. So if your multi loses this weekend, you come into that game, we're going to get you a ticket to Essendon v Hawthorn. Mm-hmm. You're going to go fully donned in the sash. You're going to wear an Essendon jumper with nothing else on underneath it. No t-shirt, no shirt, just an Essendon jumper. Happy for you to wear pants, wear whatever pants you want. You're going to have a scarf. You're going to have your face painted, and you're going to be out the front busking for at least 5 minutes singing the Essendon song.
What? I have to busk as well.
You have to sing the Essendon song and other notable Essendon commentary. You have to be singing stuff about Kevin Sheedy and James Hearn for 5 minutes if your multi loses this weekend.
Mate, it's not bad enough you're making me go full kit to a game where I couldn't think of anything worse to watch. I have to bloody sing, do I?
Well, Bully, you didn't ask what happens if the multi wins. Are you not backing yourself?
Okay, that's a very interesting point, Tucker Bags. If the multi wins, who's your most hated team, Tuckers?
I'm going to do the inverse, because my most hated team is Hawthorn.
Oh, so I think your most hated would be Collingwood, wouldn't it?
Well, that's without a doubt. But we're just going to line it all up for the same night, Bully.
All right. I'll let you off. Right. So,
Bully, I couldn't do that at a Collingwood game. I'd get murdered.
That's true. And we don't want you wearing our jumper, mate. So, all right, deal. So if my multi wins, which it will, you're going to be going full kit, Hawthorn kit, and you're going to be doing the exact same thing, busking for your supper. And
5 minutes.
5 minutes. And all our viewers and listeners out there, please come along. It's going to be a lot of fun. What gate we're going to do it? Do you got the gate? Should we do it out in front of gate?
We'll go to the MCC out front of gate 2. Out front of gate 2.
All right, so
that's where all the traffic comes in.
The winner or the loser will be there.
Love it. All right. Wow. Stakes are getting real, Bully. You could be doing 2 bad punishments next week.
I'm loving it. I'm pretty confident. Man City got it running to try and get the title against Arsenal. Max, he's my boy. I can trust him. And Blues are no good. Sydney are going to romp them. So I hope you've got your lemon tea ready to get your voice ready for a nice sing. And I'm going to take the absolute piss out of you.
Bloody hell. Well, that'll make for a fun afternoon on Sunday, Bully, if it comes down to that last fight. So look, that's going to take us to the end of the show today, Bally. But yeah, look, it's been a big week. Lots happening, lots of news. Yeah, we didn't even touch on it at the start. I literally got to meet Volk the other day. Like, I've been waiting. You're first name basis with the man.
Old news, best mates. You know, I just gave him a little wink and a bit of a respect nod for me and Volk. But you were like a bloody little schoolgirl. Oh, get a photo.
Yeah. So it was like there's like teenagers in front of me, like lining up to get a photo with him. And then
Tuckers is cutting, pushing people out the way. It's like that scene in Seinfeld where George Costanza is pushing all the kids out the way to get to the door. That was Tuckers. I've never seen you like that, mate. mate. But he is, one of the pound for pound goats. So I understand where you're at.
And just what a fucking man. He goes to a pub in Melbourne. He's from Sydney, puts 20K behind the bar for all the boys to drink beers. God, is there anything he can't do? He's just the man, isn't he?
And you see him making the cocktails. It was like a scene out of, with Tom Cruise, a cocktail. It was shaking.
Hulk's a bit better looking than Tom Cruise. He's a bit better looking.
He may be slightly taller as well. but yeah, mate, he's what can't he do? And he just gives his time up all the time. And there's whispers he's coming on the show, so I'm not sure when that's going to happen, but stay tuned because we're getting close.
Well, and geez, on the topic of guests, we're not going to announce anyone just yet. But there are people in the pipeline. Ballie's been working some magic, and I know he's got some people lined up. So you're going to hear some news about that, everyone, in the coming weeks, about some guests that are coming onto the Throwing Shade pod. But look, the other thing we failed to mention, Ball, at the start, stupidly, of us is how fucking exciting is the last week for the pod been? Like, we had the episode drop with Elvis Sinisek, who, for those who haven't watched it or listened to it yet, Australia's first ever UFC fighter, joined us. Since then, our subscriber count, just on YouTube alone, it's skyrocketed. It's gone up to over 800 subscribers, I think nearly 900.
Almost 900 now.
Almost 900. Like, that episode that we had Elvis on's had 3,500 views as well. Spotify's, I think, north of 1,000 downloads.
Yep.
It's absolutely fucking flying, Bally. Like, don't know what's happened. I think we've been picked up in a bit of an algorithm of somewhere overseas.
We are low-key flying, airborne at the moment, Tuckers. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We're going through the roof. We're taking on all the other podcasts. And, mate, it's exciting time. Now we've just got to build the Instagram. The Instagram's lacking a little bit. Yep. I think we've got to put a little bit more work into that. But YouTube's flying and the guests, they're paying attention to the numbers. I'll give you the red hot tip.
Yeah, fantastic. No, I saw, as you touched on, we're flying. I saw some mates the other day and I was telling them about the numbers and they said to me, geez, you better loosen a few buttons on that hat you're wearing there, mate. You're getting a big head. No, look, thank you so much to everyone who subscribed through all of the channels. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, those who are listening on Spotify. We really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe. Our handles at YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram are all at Throwing Shade Pod. Chuck us a follow. Tell your friends, tell your family if you haven't already. Lots of stuff coming up, lots of guests, a few punishments people are going to see coming up. Plenty of fun along the way, Bally, we're going to have this year. But it's been a great start. Let's wrap this show, but won't be long till we're here again, Bally. Thank you for your time. Anything else you want to finish up on?
Nah, Tuckers, I think you've nailed it. More guests to come. It's going to be very exciting. Keep following. We're going to go through all that's happening in the combat sport world, as well as boxing and a bit of wrestling and everything else. So it's exciting times ahead, and I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Just very quickly before we wrap, who are you, Team Zuffa or Team Matchroom? Eddie v Dana, who are you on?
Oh, geez, that's just... It's a tough one.
Oh, sorry, I had to throw that in right at the end, mate.
I like it. I am a boxing purist, so I think I am Team Matchroom. I love the history behind it, what the belts mean. I think Eddie's a great promoter, but obviously Dana, he's the man. He's the innovator. I think he's going to take Zuffa boxing to limits that we've never even seen. He's signing amazing boxers. He's got a big checkbook. He's signing some big checks, and I don't know if Eddie can go with him, but I'm going to say Eddie just because I'm a purist and I love the history of it. What about you, Tuckers?
Yeah, I'm Team Zoo all the way. Let's go Dana White. Push that pussy out. No, I think it's going to be hard to compete with the checkbook of the Saudis. But yeah, Eddie Hearn's got a lot of money as well. He's got he's got a big following over there in the UK. Lots of stuff he could do. Could he enter the world of MMA? That's something that's been floated to him before.
Just before we go, that's exactly what you were saying. You were saying that is he going to challenge the UFC and create his own league and start paying some of the fighters that are getting overlooked or getting underappreciated like Sugar? Saying that 15 million, he ain't getting 15 million. So that was a good point, but I think we'll talk about that next week.
Should he sign Tom Aspinall? Who knows? Thank you to our listeners. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week.